Hello fellow YouTubers, BexarPrepper here. Today I'm just going to show you my trip up into the hill country. And I took the audio out because it was pretty bumpy and I had to chop it up pretty good because I didn't want to get anyone seasick from the movement of the trees when I shot out the window. It was an amazing drive and just so beautiful. You'll see that the tree was turning colors. Now in Texas, we call these here mountains. I know. They're hills, but they call them mountains. But they still change color and they're absolutely beautiful. So I hope you enjoy the drive. I'll warn you before we get to the hunting issue so that you can turn it off if it might offend you. But while we're taking this beautiful drive, let's have a little chat. As you know, for the past 3 months, I haven't really been on very much. There's been a lot of things going on besides the loss. My Wi-Fi bit the dust, and as most of you know, when your Wi-Fi bites the dust, it just makes it really difficult to multitask. And you all know I'm a multitasker. So I've kind of slowed down a bit. Hopefully soon I'll be able to get me another Wi-Fi and I'll pick back up again. Also, with the garden winding down and preps are winding down because higher priorities have come into play. And so, not as much to videotape as I'd like. But I haven't given up. And I will present you with hopefully some useful information. I've got several projects. One I've been working on for a couple months. I haven't had success yet in creating what I've been trying to create, but I haven't given it up. And hopefully, if I can have success, this will be something that benefits all of us tremendously. I've also noticed that there's been a bit of controversy around. One of the things we have to remember as preppers in the prepping community, we're all a little different. We all know a little different things. We're all focused on different things. And knowledge is power. We may not always get that knowledge accurate and correct. We do the best that we can. But we are a team. And it really hurt my heart to see, I don't know, not necessarily the arguments, but the displeasure and the unsubbing that came along with information that came out that may have not have been accurate. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and, and to say to people, we've all been there. We've all had our feelings hurt. Me too. I mean, I've been at that moment where my feelings were hurt once, and I unsubbed somebody. A good friend. That, didn't mean to offend me or hurt my feelings or everyone to look at it. It was their own personal opinion and their feelings, which we all have a right to. So, wow. I'm sorry. This was just moving really fast. Beautiful scenery. But, I resubbed them because once I stopped acting like a little baby, I realized that we're all entitled to our own opinions, and it doesn't make them a bad person or it's somebody that doesn't have valuable information just because they get one thing that doesn't set right with you. Most of the fellow YouTubers in the prepping community have some amazing information for sale, for available, not for sale. There are some that have it for sale. Check out Goat Hollows. I think that's a great thing to save you some time. But let me continue. I've been on the recipient end of that. I have a good friend that, for what reason, I have no idea, has unsubbed me. And it breaks my heart. But I get it, and hopefully someday they will come back. This is just what we used at the cabin for hunting. Little propane there. That tank's a little old. But, and that was the drive up, and this is the property. A nice stuffed animal that great grandpa of the property owners, I guess, shot that on the property. Beautiful, beautiful. And they had it stuffed, and it's just absolutely amazing. It's scary. And this is that was a mountain lion, and this is a bobcat, if you didn't know what they were. And then we're going to have a little visit from a friendly raccoon here coming up. But let me get back to what I was saying. You know, I hope that someday this fellow YouTuber will resub me. And, you know, if I did something to offend, I hope that I can be forgiven. You know, I think that's what we all hope. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. So, hopefully, you know, everything works out in the wash. And I ask everybody to please be patient with each other. And, you know, don't get in arguments on the comments. Send a PM. I mean, you care about people. Let's make it personal. Why drag everybody into the mix? So, you know, I got a lot of you knows in this. It just really bothers me. Because how can we help others if we can't forgive each other? So I think we're getting ready to go to the deer hunting. We had to cut down our firewood, and that tree fell down, so we were chopping our own firewood. But the scenery was just beautiful up there. It was very quiet and secluded and just really wonderful. I also want to say there's some really good new preppers out there. I would list a bunch, but I don't want to offend those that I don't happen to mention because they're all amazing. Check out my subscribers. I think you can. I'm not sure if you can check out my subscribers, who I subscribe to. But there's some great people out there, some new people coming on board that have a lot of great valuable information for us. Beautiful fire, late at night. That's what we had to heat the cabin. I'd say it was more like a house. We were really lucky. It had electric and water straight from the spring with a water heater and propane stove. We stopped in town and got 2 Angus prime rib. Oh man, they were so good. And this is one of the deer blinds we sat at. It was really interesting. The first day, within 2 hours of sitting in the deer blind, we got an 8-point buck. Second day, didn't see a single deer. Not a one. So it's pretty much just the scenery that I took a picture of. It was just really still. I mean, you couldn't even see birds moving. We'll have a little fun with the guns here in a minute. So what are some of the projects I'd like to get into? One of the things that was asked of me was, how do you get started prepping? And I thought about maybe working out a weekly prep list or something, what to get started with. And I would love input from my fellow preppers. One of the things I think is that when we first start out, we start out and just buy. And as we get more experience, we learn, you know, what is an effective buy and what is not. And I really think that would be a great thing for all of us to share. I'm just not sure how it'll work. Maybe I can talk to some of the fellow preppers, or I'm talking to now. Maybe we could work out a week-by-week rotation of what is important to get in your preps. I'm also working on how to make yeast cakes. and a few things like that. I've still got to do the zucchini jam from the old zucchinis. And then it's going to be time to start prepping the garden a little more for this year's crops. I think the retreat, even though there might be a water issue, I think I'd like to do tomatoes out there. So I might have to figure out whether or not that can be done. I just didn't get enough tomatoes this year, and I really need to stock up for next year. And if I don't do that, I'm going to end up having to buy them, and I'd rather not do that. You see how the fog is just resting on the mountains? Okay, so now we go on a ride around the property. I don't really want to say how large the property is. Let's just say it is quite large. There have been a lot of cedar that was cut down because cedar is really invasive here in Texas, and it sucks all the water out of the ground and tends to kill your other trees. So you got to kind of keep on top of it. This was a massive cedar cut down. That happened probably in the last 4 months, 5 months. And so, you know, you're going to see that at certain points things are really sparse. But in another year, those oak trees will take off, and you'll get natural grasses and things like that coming up. And it won't be so dry looking. It'll survive a little better if the cedar's gone. So I don't know if you can tell, this camera hides it pretty well, but if you look at the window of the Jeep, we're rocking really good. Because in Texas, here where we're at, it's all rock. That was a doorless Jeep, so I was able to get some pretty decent photos from it. I just love driving around or walking around. It would have been nice to walk around, but we were kind of hunting for deer and seeing what we could see, and we were looking for some cedar to cut down because we needed a large cedar log. So we decided to take the Jeep to kind of speed up the process. And that, I didn't say it, but that little dirt road that we first came in on, that's a county road. Yeah, that's what they call a road in Texas, that the state takes care of. This was, probably about 10 o'clock in the morning on day 2. Got there probably at 11 o'clock and cut down some trees for firewood, and then went hunting about 3. Got the deer about 4:30, and then came on home. Got the fire stoked and started cooking dinner. Got up the next morning, sat in the blind for a few hours. Didn't see not even a bird. It was just really, really still. And then we took off and drove around the property looking for cedar. Then we cut down a cedar tree and put that in the back of the truck. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I did. In Texas, most things are flat, so it's really nice to drive around in the hills. I'm not sure what's going on with my video camera. I don't necessarily like this. I don't recommend this camera. It's a Sony. I would rather just stick with my flip. I've had more trouble with this Sony. It makes noise. That's another reason why I took the audio out. It makes like a clunky noise. Just sad. For an expensive camera, it's definitely not as easy to use or as good as the flip. The flip will automatically stretch the film to fit whichever way you're holding it. The Sony, you gotta hold it sideways or you get the black bands everywhere. I'm processing this on a different application, so it's gonna have the black bands on it. That's just one of the deer blinds. We didn't hunt it, that one. We were just checking them out, making sure everything was okay. And looking for deer, which we saw none. We only saw 2 deer the whole time. Before we got the buck, we had a little nubby buck come up. And here we are just shooting the guns. We got the AK, the Glock, the Ruger, and the 38. So we're just having a good time shooting guns. And as you see, this film is jumping. And that was a cute little thing we saw on the way back. Little farmer man holding up a haystack. Now, these are the hunting videos, so if you're squeamish, move on. I'm going to go ahead and start the audio back again. I'll let him go first in case he's still kicking.
Actually,
First night, first shot. I can't put it on telephoto. I've got gloves on. Right in the shoulder. Dead on. I was just a bad shot.
yeah,
That was dead on.
shot.
Oh, thank God he didn't go down any further.
God, no kidding.
Look at that. Is he playing possum?
Nah, I don't think so. Shot him in the lungs, I think. Dead. A little late. Yeah, I think that's what shot him through the lungs.
8 point. Say bye-bye. I know, Sarah, you don't want to see that. We got the deer back there. One last look. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I have enjoyed this trip. Great company. Good hunting. And I wish you many blessings.